this weekend. So a couple of Audis on the front row of the grid. Clock ticking down, pit stops in the middle. Audi, Lamborghini, Mercedes, AMG and Ferrari in the top 6 of this grid. The battle in the AM class worth watching as well. Renee Gracie looking to continue her sweep. Set for a start at Queensland Raceway. Ready. GT World is underway at QR, and a brilliant start by Alex Peroni on the outside. Sweeps in front of Brock Feeney and gets the point. He leads them into turn 1. That was so critical. David Wall was slow away. They've all checked up behind. Ojada's getting up the inside of Feeney. Leach is trying to buy into this as well, but check out the gaggle of cars behind. Fraser's in there. King is in there in the Mercedes AMG. Leach going for second place. He was looking down the inside. Yeah. Feeney now fighting back around the outside.
Yeah, Feeney got caught out there on the start a little bit. I think that was just a great reaction from Alex Peroni. And what about Ojeda? 4th up to 2nd. We know how strong he is and how confident he is on a cold Pirelli tyre. He's got so much experience in these cars globally as well. And that's a spin. I think that's Aaron Love into the side as well. I think that's George King. So he's off at turn 4 and he's all the way back down to last, I think.
And Feeney had a massive wobble at turn 4 and was almost gobbled up by both Leach and Evans, and now Declan Fraser in there as well. Ojeda has got to the back of Alex Peroni, so Audi and Mercedes AMG out in front. What a start to this one.
This is very similar, very reminiscent of last year's Saturday race. Towards the end, it was Peroni trying to hold off Ojeda at the end of the race, but we're only 3 minutes into this race. We've only completed 1 lap, so how long can Peroni resist the pressure of Ojeda?
Feeney very wide at turn 2. It could open the door a little bit for Brendan Leach in the Dale ITM Audi teammates out of the MPC stable. Audi Customer Sport Racing Australia, based in Melbourne, southeastern suburbs. This team has had a huge amount of success. They are the most winning team in Australian, GT World Challenge Australia competition. The Arise Ferrari's in there as well. That's Jackson Evans, Gold Coast-based Kiwi, and Declan Fraser chasing him down.
Yeah, so Fraser in 6th position. And he had a little bit of a tough qualifying session yesterday, so he's moved up a couple of positions. But yeah, Feeney in these opening few laps really struggling to get the confidence and maybe the tyre temperatures. He's lost about 1.8 seconds to Ojeda here. So Ojeda still right on the back of Alex Peroni, and at the end of the day, Ojeda's got another 10 seconds extra compensation time for finishing in 2nd place yesterday. So Peroni, he'll be in 2 minds, I'd say, whether he just relinquishes the pressure, maybe lets Ojeda go and just try and stay with him, or, you know what, he's got the clear air, try and maximise that and not overheat the front tyres. So at the moment, Peroni doing a great job out in front, excellent start that he had, and Feeney under a lot of pressure as well from Brendan Leach, and right in behind Leach, Jackson Evans as well.
Now it's okay, and he's just gapping Brendan Leach slightly.
I was just about to touch on that as well, that, yeah, Feeney's got 15 seconds extra time, but the gap between Feeney and Ojeda is about 2.2 seconds, and Ojeda still within 0.4 of a second of Alex Peroni. Aaron Love just sets the fastest lap of the race.
Oh,
and
big
we've
spin.
had a big spin. That is, that's gone
Darren
around?
Curry.
It's Darren Curry. So hopefully get that thing out of there and don't stop. Now, and tell you what, I think he's bogged there now. He still had the momentum going. I thought maybe he could have just carried on, but I think that thing's beached, Crailsing. You know what that normally means?
Yeah, I do. A frustrated racing car driver to my right here going, come on, drive it out, drive it out. Unfortunately, Darren Curry and Axel Donaldson are not going to get further out, and the safety car has been called.
Yeah, so he's just lost it there. High fuel loads at the start of this one as well. You know, it's a 1 hour race, so they're topped up, and tyres still coming up to temperature. And the cars sit lower when the pressures are down. So whether it's just bottomed out a little bit, but yeah, around he goes, and yeah, in the gravel trap.
All right, Alex Peroni.
Times to come. Just under 47 minutes remaining in this one. So safety car lights out, and we're not too far away from a restart here at Queensland Raceway.
The field is stacked up behind young Alex Peroni in the Team PRM ACMF Audi R8. The BMW M safety car is heading to pit lane. Jaden Ojeda is second in the queue. Brock Feeney is third. The current Supercars Championship leader, the fast Kiwi Brendan Leach, is next. And then another one just behind him in Jackson Evans. Then it's Declan Fraser. Then it's Aaron Love and Luke Youlden and David Wall. Back to green flag conditions. 46 minutes on the clock. Peroni is your leader.
Big moment for Brock Feeney off the final corner on that exit curb. And we know how strong Ojeda is on colder tyres, so keep an eye on him. But Alex Peroni sort of bolted here. A lot of confidence there through turn one. And once again, Feeney just losing out a little bit on that cold tyre on a restart.
Well, once is a question mark, twice is almost a trend, isn't it? That car doesn't look very safe on a cold tyre. So it was challenging to drive on the opening lap, and it's been challenging again. He runs very wide at turn 3. It's going to open the door for Brendan Leach to get a good exit out of that corner and the drag race down towards the left-hander at turn 4. So Feeney clearly struggling with the Kelso electrical car. A couple of teams made some setup changes. I went and spoke to Wall Racing, who are running the Lamborghini Huracan. David Wall behind the wheel said they were just tuning the car. They had no dry weather running up until yesterday's race, so they were learning and trying to understand what that car was doing. So they've made some changes to make that car nicer to drive. Let's go back down to the lane. Here's Charlie.
I'm here with Grant Donaldson. Grant, we obviously saw that Darren got the car back on track. The 111 is going around. What is Darren saying over the radio?
I think he just made a little mistake going in, just lost the rears, didn't get the tyre temp up to where he's supposed to be. He's pretty shattered with himself, I'd imagine. Paul Bugger, we all make mistakes every now and again. We'll just charge on and see where we end up after today, but it should be all right. At least used it with the testing day, and no one likes to go on the gravel. I've done it plenty of times myself, but we're doing heaps of overseas racing this year, so he's got a lot of seat time, but he'd be pretty cut up about it all, but devastated for the team. But anyway, we'll keep charging on for the rest of the day and see how we go.
Press on.
No worries, thank you. Cheers.
Thanks, Charlie. Those boys went and did the Dubai 24-hour earlier this year, so they've got a lot of miles. They've gone down a lap, unfortunately, so that's quite costly for the Mercedes-AMG team. Now, a little things come up on our timing screen from Motorsport Australia Race Control, the race director James Taylor and driving standards chief Craig Baird for this category, that they've noted a restart procedure issue for car 268. Now, that's the race-leading ACM Finance Audi R8.
You've got to be kidding, Crailsy.
Yeah.
Not another.
I'm not kidding. That's exactly what they've noted. So this is the restart.
So it looks okay.
Two things that could happen. One, well, that was just shows us the Brock Feeney moment where he got very wide on the exit of 6. I reckon it was earlier than that, you know. He was going really slow out of turn 5 as the safety car accelerated away. That's the scene down at Team BRM, who are running this car.
Marcus Koch there, who's the engineer of that car, and Mark Rundle, team owner of BRM.
Team you've had some success driving for in S5000 open wheelers, some wins in the Gold Star, which was a very, very cool moment.
They just can't catch a break at the moment, can they, this team? Phillip Island, they got a penalty for jumping the start, the race start, when they were on the front row alongside Dorian Boccolacci. And they've had a few pit stop penalties at Phillip Island as well. Yesterday caught up in that first lap crash off the front row, and this would just be real devastation for that team if this leads to some form of penalty. But anyway, at the moment, it's just been noted, so hopefully we don't put a curse on that from here. And he's got a 1 second margin over Jaden Ojeda, then Brock Feeney in behind. 1.6 seconds back is Brock Feeney to Ojeda, so he's still just not as confident on that colder tyre in the Audi. And a little bit of a queue forming behind with Brendan Leach, Jackson Evans, and then Declan Fraser. This is a nice little battle that's been going on for a few laps. Fraser and Aaron Love, and we saw that massive moment that Aaron Love had into turn 4. As in the background, you can see Aaron Love has put a move on Declan Fraser and gets the job done into turn number 3. So now he's going to have to cover here into turn 4 on Declan.
Post-race investigation for car 268. So that will be, they want to get the in-car camera vision out of that car and then look at the data as well to see what the speed they were doing. If I'm a betting man, and I'm not because I'm terrible at it, but I would suggest that it wasn't maintaining the speed of the safety car. People have been nobbled for that before, potentially going too slowly as the safety car accelerated away.
Yeah, and that's exactly your point. So this is, and yeah, that's, I wouldn't exactly call that 80 kilometers an hour. So yeah, I would say that that's exactly what Race Control, Motorsport Australia Race Control are going to look at. And yeah, very hard to tell just off the external shots, hence why they would want to see the data, the onboard vision, the V-Box as they're called. It's got all those parameters and telemetry, and it's such a shame having that cloud hanging over their head. Now, if I was the engineer there and the team, I probably wouldn't mention that to the driver and just treat it as if there is no investigation. Drive as hard as you can, as long as you can, just do everything normal, and we'll just worry about that later. Jumps Ojeda there, and they've missed out massively. So something's happened in the pit lane there, and there's Feeney. We've got in the background. Oh, that is close. I think he's just going to be fine there. I don't think they've nailed that to absolute perfection, and that's Wyatt in the Ferrari up into second position. Lucchini taking over from Ojeda, and Tim Miles taking over from Brendan Leach. But I'm a bit perplexed that number 7 Audi should have jumped the 66 Mercedes, given that they didn't have any extra time in the pit stop.
Yeah, and really costly for Elliott Shoot as well. He's down in 6th position, so he's actually lost a spot through all of that scenario.
So that's been costly for Miles, and this will be the first time that he'll get some proper dry running as well, because he was involved in that turn 1, or didn't even make it to turn 1, but that main straight collision. So we've got 20 minutes remaining. So
Mark Rosser finds himself with a very, very handsome lead with 20 minutes remaining in GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. Stephen Wyatt is second, Paul Lucchini third, Tim Miles chasing them all in 4th place. Rene Gracie still leads the AM class. And now it plays out. The AM drivers at work. Tim Miles is always one of the quicker AMs in this Pro Am field, so I'm interested to see what he can do with Paul Lucchini and Stephen Wyatt in front. These are these 2 cars on screen. They're 2nd and 3rd on the road. Brad Schumacher is 5 seconds behind Miles in 4th and 5th position. Elliott Shoot another 2.5 seconds down the road. And with the raw pace that Arise Racing Ferrari's had all season long, it's going to be really interesting to see what he can do to get some more championship points. That is a car that so far this season is yet to finish off the podium. So 3 wins and 2 third positions across the races so far this year.
While they're 10 seconds off a podium, Lucchini currently running in 3rd. Ojeda doing a brilliant job in that opening stint. And this is the battle for 2nd. This is Wyatt v Lucchini, and plenty of pace in that Mercedes, as we've seen. And flashing the headlights is Paul Lucchini into turn 1. A bit of aero wash, I'd say, through 1, but a lot of confidence has he got behind the wheel here. And Wyatt, I'd say, looking in his mirrors a little bit, and this is all but helping the cause for the 268 Audi, which still has a question mark and a cloud hovering over it for a restart investigation.
Oh, Lucchini had a look down the inside there. Wyatt sort of half covered late in the braking zone to turn 3, but no move on offer. It's benefiting Mark Rosser, yes, and he really just needs to drive away now. So even if there is a penalty, if it's a time penalty after the race, then that will minimise the damage. What it's also helping is Tim Miles, because all of a sudden that 3.5 second margin is now 1 second behind these 2 cars. The Dale ITM car is cruising up to this battle pack, and he will hope that Wyatt can keep Lucchini bottled in behind him in the Realtor car for as long as possible, so he can get into this fight and get himself onto the podium as well.
Well, he's taken a second out of these guys so far, and they're almost side by side here. I don't quite think he's going to be able to get the move done into turn 1. Stays narrow, and he's just throwing it down the inside. That's not going to work, not from that far back, and this is all just going to help Tim Miles. On that last lap alone, Tim took, we're just having a look at the times, 1.2 seconds out of these guys, and the gap out in front around about 10 seconds. And finally, it looks like Lucchini down the inside of Wyatt. Can he get the move done? It looks like he's going in very, very hot here. Almost too hot, and he runs off.
And the car 3rd in the championship coming into the weekend tumbles to the bottom half of the top 10. It didn't really look like that thing was ever going to stop at that point, did it? Here's another look down the inside.
He had the track position
So, yeah, and spun to the outside. Here's the other angle down at turn 3. And understeered off the road. It could have been much worse. Could have ended up stuck in the gravel trap potentially, but was able to drive out the other side. So damage limitation potentially for them. So Mark Rosser out in front, 10.8 seconds now. Stephen Wyatt has a tiny margin over Tim Miles in what is now a battle for second position, with Brad Schumacher up to 4th place as a result of that. Elliot Schute's definitely bearing down on him though in the Ferrari and looking good. And then Paul Lucitti next. So 16 and a half minutes to go here at Queensland Raceway. The Audi's on top. .9 seconds. Tim Miles in 3rd place at 0.4 of a second. This is that battle pack. Miles now, originally from Ashburton on the South Island of New Zealand. He grew up with a group of mates, motor racing mates in that part of the world. Timaru circuit, not too far away from home, was their playground. And then he's come to Australia, successful business career, retired early, as we have another look at this replay, Tom.
So down the inside, sorry for that missing in action there from me. Down the inside, he pretty much had the move done. He had the track position and just went way too deep under brakes. You won't see a lock-up in these cars, courtesy of the ABS, but yeah, way too fast down into there. And all that hard work undone, unfortunately. So they're back into 6th position now and going for a bit of a drift and a slide. And there's been so much rain over the last few days, Crailsy, that grass would be so wet. And what that's done is made life a little bit easier for Tim Miles, because he doesn't have to overtake 2 cars now. It's just the one with Wyatt, but this has just allowed the margin to stretch for Mark Rosser. And yeah, we still have that cloud hanging over them, the 268 Audi. Brad Schumacher back in 4th, and he's just taken nearly a second out of Tim Miles, who is stuck behind Steve Wyatt, and Wyatt being really the cork in the bottle here. So Schumacher on the last lap did a 109.2. Elliot Shute, who's in behind Schumacher, did a 109.0. Miles and Wyatt are doing 10 ones. So 1 second faster are the cars in 4th and 5th here, and 2.5 seconds back is Brad Schumacher with 14 minutes to go on the clock. I think the battle for the podium places is really going to heat up.
Yeah, Miles will want to get a wriggle on and get past that Ferrari and disappear up the road if he can, because those other 2 Audis, the Audi and the Ferrari are charging pretty rapidly. And Miles, I think, has got that job done. He's just popped up in 2nd place on our timing monitor. Yep, there he is. So the Audi now moves to a clear 2nd place. Touching on his backstory, now based in Sydney, and just loves driving these cars and loves the fact that he can get involved both with Deb Day and the team at Dale ITM over there in New Zealand. The Kiwis have been racing at Topor yesterday, Tom, in the opening round of the North Island Endurance Championship Racing. And a successful weekend there, we understand. A couple of familiar names and faces on top of the leaderboard. I'm going to show you this pass. So this is P2.
Yeah, great move. Down into turn 4. Wyatt left him plenty of room, and now Tim Miles can get on with it. He's already put half a second in the first sector alone on Wyatt, and that gap between Miles and Wyatt is 1.3 seconds. Schumacher now only just over 1 second behind Wyatt. And here's our race leader, Mark Rosser. They've done pretty much everything right so far, barring that safety car restart, which we won't find out what the outcome will be until after the race. But he's doing everything he can. Just as he crosses the line, we'll see what lap time he does here. So he's just hovering around the mid 109. So 109.6 for Mark Rosser. And we'll see what Tim Miles does as he crosses the line. And that will be a 109.2. So 0.4 of a second faster on that lap.
10.2 for Stephen Wyatt. Brad Schumacher with a 9.3. Elliott Shute 9.1, the quickest of the leading bunch in that yellow and red Lance East Exotics Ferrari from Arise Racing. So they're all condensing up here. Miles looking to gap them as much as he possibly can. Schumacher looking to make it an Audi lockout of the top 3 positions in this race. Looming large behind Stephen White. It's been so good to see him back in GT racing though this year in that beautifully liveried, that dark sort of Rosso Corsa liveried Ferrari, the dark Maranello red, as Schumacher looks down the inside here at turn 4, and that will be 3rd place. But Stephen spent a lot of time out of the seat. He has a couple of Bathurst 12-hour starts with AF Corsa, believe it or not, under his belt. So experience, but spent some time out. And in the gravel trap, the KFC Audi is stuck and is going nowhere. And Mark Rosser is about to see an 11-second race lead disappear into oblivion.
That couldn't have come at a worse time for the 268. Now he's gone into turn 1 and he's just lost the rear all on his own. Rene Gracie in behind, avoiding that. And we have seen that time and time again this weekend. Crailsy cars losing the rear end there. Tyres at this point of the race are getting pretty old, pretty hot. And that brings out, once again, the BMW M safety car. That thing's been busy this weekend. So I was just going to actually ponder the possibility or the prospect of how the Ferraris were going to play this, because Elliott Shute being in championship contention, would they do a team switch, which they can't do now under safety car, but potentially when we get back under green, will they just let the 26 Arise Racing Ferrari past just for the points?
It's a good point. I like where you're going, Thomas, with the team strategy. Well mentioned, and we'll see how that all plays out. This team, BRM, sometimes you feel like they just cannot take a break in terms of the luck department. They've smashed the mirror and run over the black cat and driven under the umbrella.
Walked under a ladder.
Yeah, they've done all the, driven under the umbrella, driven under the ladder was what I was talking about. Open the brolly indoors is where I was going with that. That might have been Friday when it was raining so hard here. But Mark Rosser has the pace and has the experience to win this race in a battle with Tim Miles. So now they've got to back their driver into delivering this one home. And the South Australian, who had some time in S5000 open wheelers, generated up from a Series 1, the Gen 1 Audi R8 into the current spec car, put together a really good program. In fact, Albert Gallagher, the sponsor, is here this weekend. It was cool to see him in the paddock. He's the ACMF, the pink and blue livery on that car. Cam?
I thought I'd grab Alex Peroni at this point of the race, because probably it'd be a little bit frustrating down in the bunker watching that safety car and that massive lead just eradicated.
Yeah, I was saying to you before, never a dull moment. You know, we thought we had, you know, a comfortable gap, and we're just saying to Mark, you know, drive, be comfortable, still push, but don't go over the limit. And now everything's going to change, so hopefully he can stay calm and stay in the lead, but they look pretty fast in P2.
Well, the car, though, itself has looked very strong. When you were at the wheel, it's continued on with Mark there. It must give you a little bit of confidence. I know the gap is gone, but he's a good driver, and it looks like the car's in great window.
Oh, the guys did an amazing job. I was a bit nervous actually coming to this race because we did no dry running this whole weekend after the lap 1 incident yesterday. So for the car to be on rails, like, credit to the whole team. It was good in the wet, good in the dry. So it'll be nice to actually give them something for their hard work this year, which we've struggled to do. So let's see what happens.
And I'd get killed by our audience on 7 Sport if I didn't ask you about that restart at the beginning that we know Race Control will look at later. From your perspective, I've seen the data. It looked like you held. You comfortable that you're okay when you go up there?
It's another thing. Look, safety car turned off his lights at that tight corner. He was probably doing, you know, pretty slow, and I just stood the pace, kept it the whole way through, didn't weave, went when I did, and, you know, I think I was in the rules. I'm pretty sure I was, so let's see what happens. You don't know how they interpret it.
I rest my case, Your Honour, says Alex Peroni.
Let's see.
Thanks, Cam. He's a great young guy. I quite like the way he worded that. So their argument clearly is that when the safety car put their lights out, it was in the middle of turn 4 perhaps, or turn 5, so therefore they weren't doing 80 k's an hour, and he maintained that. Look, we can get bogged down in rules and regulations. It's not what we're here for. We're here for thrilling GT racing, and we're going to get that because we've got a great shootout. Hey, the final round of the championship this year, Tom, is across the ditch, and I just touched on the fact that the Kiwis have been racing their GT cars recently, so just wanted to give a little shout out to some of our own that have raced in GT World Challenge Australia. So Sam Fillmore and Johnny Reid had a win in Topor yesterday. Glenn Brazier and Andy Waite. He's like the Kiwi version of you.
Oh.
Can drive, can commentate. He's a gun. They were second. And,
Must be a good bloke.
A really good bloke. Steve Brooks and Bill Riding. Brooksy, who's been in the championship for the first 2 rounds with Ryan Woods, finished third. So congrats to our Kiwi brothers and sisters over there, and we're really looking forward to coming to Hampton Downs in late October, early in November for the final round of GT World Challenge Australia.
There's a few inter-team battles here, Crailsy. So it's an Audi 1, 2, 3. Team BRM leads Team MPC. Then it's Team MPC. Then it's Arise. Then we've got Tagani. So it could get awkward in the bunkers between all those 3 manufacturers. So Audi, Ferrari, Mercedes, Lamborghini, and then Renee Gracie leading the AM class. And we're being told that the safety car will be lights out this time by, and I'm sure we'll keep a keen eye on what speed the 268 Audi will be doing on this restart.
Well, Rosser very close. So the lights have gone out halfway between turn 4 and 5, just for reference if you're playing at home. And now it's up to Mark Rosser. Yeah, that's definitely 80 kilometres an hour. 10 miles in behind, looking to grab a victory. It's been slim pickings for that team this year and a really challenging start to the season. Brad Schumacher next in the championship mix and wants a few more positions in front of that yellow and red Ferrari there, because they're the championship leaders, Elliott Shute and Jackson Evans. Back to green. 5.5 minutes to go at Queensland Raceway, and yet another grandstand finish to a GT World Challenge Australia race. Audi versus Audi versus Audi at the front, but where do the Ferraris play into this?
Yeah, great restart there for Mark Rosser. Now he's just got to manage to get a strong exit out of turn 2, but such a long run down to turn 3. And like you said, how do they play it? They haven't switched positions yet, and what this is doing, it's putting Paul Lucchini back in the mix. And it didn't feel that long ago when Lucchini went down the inside of Wyatt and ran on and went off at turn 6, as there's Liam Talbot passing the 47. However, we do know that that number 1 car, well, that is for position, but he's still a lap down. So Renee Gracie, who's a few positions back, she's the last car on the lead lap. So Talbot, if he wants any chance, would have to pass everyone, safety car, and then do it again. But with 4.5 minutes remaining, we're running out of time. But out in front, Mark Rosser, beautiful restart. He's got that gap out to about half a second here. And in behind, Tim Miles, then followed by Brad Schumacher. Is that the Talbot?
Yep.
Aston Martin gone around. So I wonder if there was contact maybe. He just passed was that the 111 he passed, or was it the 47? I think it was the 111 he just passed. So, and we know that car's been struggling to refire as well, Crailsy.
Oh, I hope he can move it. I really hope he can move it. Team BRM hope he can't move it. As Miles drops it, runs it wide on the exit of turn 2. Brad Schumacher wasn't close enough to take advantage of that though, but he's going to have dirty Pirellis in the braking zone down here into turn 3. We've gone safety car. So clearly, as the field bears down on turn 4, Liam Talbot unable to fire this car. Cam?
Just giving you the update on the Liam Talbot car, guys. I've come to the pit wall and the lights keep coming on and off. They are power cycling that car, cannot get it started.
Is this the end of the race, or can the Ford Ranger Raptor recovery team execute a quick recovery? Hello, we could be in business here. The power cycling's work, drives through some of the leftover water from earlier in the weekend, and Liam Talbot's cleared himself.
Yeah, I reckon this will be a very, very quick safety car here, because the car's recovered. He's back in it, and albeit 2 laps down now, unfortunately, but I would say that the safety car will be probably in and out. So 3 minutes remaining. If we can get this car, if we can get this race back underway on the next lap, we should get a few more laps of racing, hopefully.
Yeah, 1 lap of safety car potentially. The track is clear, and it's 1 lap after the clock reaches 0, and there's 2 minutes 50. So this could be absolutely poised for what everybody in the paddock except Team BRM and Mark Rosser and Alex Peroni want to see, which is a 1 lap dash to the line. We'll wait race control to let us know what their process is in this fight to the flag. 2.5 minutes remaining in the race. Mark Rosser and Alex Peroni looking for their 3rd career victories in GT World Challenge Australia. They've had 2 wins previously, so they're both up to the task. There's no doubt about that. Brendan Miles and Tim Leach, Brendan Leach and Tim Miles.
They're basically joined at the hip anyway.
Absolutely joined at the hip regardless. The Kiwis will never forgive me for that one. They're second. They're looking for their second career win. Brad Schumacher is in third place with Brock Feeney, looking for back-to-back victories potentially this weekend, which is what the 26 Arise Racing team did last time out at the Sydney Motorsport Park round. And it's only been done 3 times in the history of the championship, is repeating your race 1 win with 1 in race 2.
Now, there's a 1 minute 40 remaining on the clock, so depending how long this takes, we should get this lap plus 1 more. So hopefully 2 laps of green flag running. And Mark Rosser got a rinse and repeat here. Do it all again on this safety car restart. Tim Miles in behind, who he had that massive moment off turn 2 just before we went yellow and under safety car.
How's the cruelty of putting that ACMF car through 3 restarts today when they're under investigation for one already right at the start of this race? All right, here we go. Still 60 seconds on the clock. We reckon 2 laps of racing left here at Queensland Raceway. Well done to our officials and recovery teams this weekend. They've worked hard. The green flies. Tim Miles gets another opportunity. So too Brad Schumacher, and he's got some protection behind because Liam Talbot is there in the Aston Martin a couple of laps behind, just protecting himself from those 2 Arise Racing Ferraris. And in fact, trying to get up the inside. Liam's a couple of laps down. Schumacher needs to be really careful in this scenario to not get engaged with something that could cost him championship points.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure whether, well, for Talbot, he's 2 laps down, and he's got guys around him that are actually in a race. They're in a battle, so, you know, you don't want Talbot really getting in the way of this battle. The guys that are on the track that are actually competing for a result here, and those are the 2 Arise Racing cars that you spotted that were going at it. So clearly no team orders there. And Tim Miles in behind Mark Rosser, who once again has nailed the restart. And we're going to have 1 more lap remaining here after this as the clock just goes to 0 now. And that gap is about half a second, which is pretty much what it was on the restart last time by. But Tim Miles just getting up to speed there, and shouldn't have to be looking in his mirrors here because he's got a car behind him that's 2 laps down, and he really should only need to be focusing on eyes forward here.
Brad Schumacher has nothing at the moment for those 2 leading cars, so he's in third, thinking of the championship points. Yeah, Miles almost having to defend from a car that's a couple of laps down on the last lap of the race. So this is perfect for Rosser. It's just opened the door for him to have a comfortable little margin at all the points where Miles could be making an attack and trying to battle for the lead. There are the 2 Ferraris. Is there an opportunity for Shute to get past Wyatt and score just a couple more valuable championship points?
He's right in behind Wyatt at the moment, and whether or not he'll probably have 1 more opportunity here, maybe 2. I don't think he's close enough here in turn 4, and he'll have 1 more attempt probably at turn 6 as Talbot just lurking all over the back of Tim Miles. Talbot 11th overall and 2 laps down, but at the moment it's going to be Mark Rosser, I think, that'll hang on to this.
Well, there's a post-race investigation into this car for an earlier restart, but forget about that for the moment. Mark Rosser has survived a couple of late race restarts, and he will drive this car to the checkered flag for his 3rd win in GT World Challenge Australia. A tiny margin over Tim Miles.